Welcome back to BOOSIE'S Vlogs. In this video, I will be giving you a review of the legendary and the famous man John Brown, an abolitionist. John Brown, May 9th, 1800 to December the 2nd, 1859, was an American abolitionist leader, first reaching national prominence for his radical and fighting and bleeding of Kansas. He was eventually captured and executed for a failed instance and resistance of a slave rebellion at Harper's Ferry preceding the American Civil War. A man of strong religious convictions, Brown believed he was an instrument of God, raised up to strike the death blow to American slavery, a scarce obligation. Brown was the leading component of violence in the American abolitionist movement. He believed that violence was necessary to end slavery. American slavery, since decades of peaceful efforts, had failed. Brown said repeatedly that in working to free the enslaved, he was following the Golden Rule, as well as the U.S. Declaration of Independence, which states that all men are created equal. He also stated often that in his view, these two principles meant the same thing. Brown first gained national attention when he led anti-slavery volunteers and his own sons during the bleeding Kansas crisis of the late 1850s, a state-level civil war over whether Kansas would enter the Union as a slave state or a free state. He was dissatisfied with abolitionists saying of these men are all talk. What we need is action. In May 1856, Brown and his sons killed 5 supporters of slavery in the Potawatomi massacre, a response to the slacking of Lawrence by pro-slavery forces. Brown then commanded anti-slave forces at the Battle of Blackjack and the Battle of Sonoma. In October 1859, Brown led a raid on the Federal armor at Harper's Ferry, Virginia, today West Virginia, intended to start a slave liberation movement that would spread south. He had prepared a provisionary constitution for the revised slavery-free United States he hoped to bring about. He seized the armory, but 7 people were killed and 10 or more were injured. Brown tended to arm slaves with weapons from the armory, but only a few slaves joined his revolt. Those of Brown's men who had not fled were killed or captured by local militia and U.S. Marines. The latter, led by Robert E. Lee. Brown was tried for treason against the Commonwealth of Virginia, the murder of 5 men, and inciting a slave insurrection. He was found guilty of all charges and was hanged on December the 2nd, 1859. The first person was executed for treason in the history of the United States. The harvest